Welcome to another episode of Tales from a Professional Nerd. My name is Bryan Steele, and I will be your nerd today. I gotta fix my camera; it's a little wonky. Um, today we are going to do our regular day in Bryan or weekend Bryan day in Bryan. But then we are going to talk about a very important topic when it comes to um, honestly anybody. But at the moment, I'm going to say we're going to talk from the perspective of professionals and specifically freelancers. Um, but week in Bryan, let's see. It has been a great week. Um, we've been playing. We played a couple of new. We've been playing some board games. We played. What did we play? I played some. I played some Magic the Gathering with my son. I haven't got a deck out in a long time. They've been kind of sitting there gathering dust, and I went to the game shop and they had a new green deck, and I was like, you know what? I haven't played Magic in a while, so I grabbed a deck, and we came home, and he trounced me, and then I trounced him, and then we had a good even matched game. Basically it was a good couple of a good hour or two of wholesome Magic the Gathering fun. Um, Played a game that we just got in the mail called Happy Little Dinosaurs by the same people who do Unstable Unicorns. It's an adorable game based on um, you are a dinosaur trying to you are a emotionally troubled dinosaur trying to get through the extinction of your kind. And it's cute. It's a card playing game. Anti trick taking. Basically, you take too many disaster cards, you lose. It was really cute. My wife and my kid, we played, and we had a blast. It was a fun, cute little game. Let's see what else. Played the my the Curse of Strahd game we played. Probably our best session ever. And not because there was, like we kicked butt or anything. It's because there were no combats. But we all actually were in character, dealing with legitimate like role playing moments. Um, we found our first encounter where we weren't sure if it was a good guy or a bad guy, and we're still not really sure. Some of us were like, well, obviously he's a good guy that's deluded. Some of us were like, no, he's evil. He's pulling the wool over our eyes. It was a solid night. It was a short session because I had to go early, but it was still just a really good game session. Me and one of the other players actually met up online afterwards, and we're talking about the fact that it was such a good game session. So props to our dungeon master for really making that game session evening just fantastic. It was an excellent game night. Um, let's see what else. I thought we played another board game. I could have swore that we did. Um, Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I am mistaken. We played another board game, but I could be incorrect. Didn't get any miniature gaming in. Got finished up on some painting commissions. Um, really got um, moved forward on some stuff for Renegade, some Power Ranger stuff. Um, got a meeting later this week for to talk about some Warzone stuff. Minor changes based off of playtesting, but I think they still need to be discussed. We can't just hand wave them. We got to figure out whether one of the things with designing, especially a miniatures game, is if you make a tweak or a change, there is always the possibility that it's got an avalanche effect. You change this. Oh well, then now this is different. Oh well, then now this isn't balanced. So we have to. There's a change that is impending that we need to really kind of figure out what we want to do. How that's going to come together. Um, and so we're going to talk about that here later this week. Um, yeah. The Let's say last week I talked about a bunch of Kickstarters. All of them seem to be doing really well. My buddy and former coworker Dave Taylor has another one that just came out. I need to remind myself what it is. Sorry to be totally unprofessional, but I just want to pull it up because I want to make sure that I say it right. Where you at, Dave? I don't know where it is. I thought he messaged it to me. I could be wrong. But he's got basically another book coming out that what? That is not helping me at all, Brian. One second. I gotta find my post about. There we go. Bum, 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 bum. Yeah, here we go. It is. It's coming soon. It is called The Art of Volumes, 1 through 3. They're art books. They're miniature gaming art books, and it looks like it's going to be a really good Kickstarter. So you should take a look at it. It's called The Art of Volumes. The Art of Volumes 1 through 3. And you should totally take a look at it because it's going to be. I think it's going to be another one that does really well. And to pad my numbers, if you look at what Battle of the Bards is doing, Satine and Jameson's Kickstarter. Remember how last week I said it was gonna go gangbusters. It was gonna do great. They are blowing stretch goals out of the water. So definitely go check that out, and follow the other ones that I mentioned, so that way you stay up on all of the awesome Kickstarterness. Which actually is going to lead us. I'm gonna use the Kickstarter thing to kind of be the lead into today's topic. So if you saw that hilarious thumbnail on this video, and the topic of today's video is stress management. So one of the things that happens to all of us, no matter what, if you have things that you have to do, if you've got tasks you have to accomplish, and your life isn't all fun and games, or isn't all fun, let's say, you will have stress to deal with, whether it's worrying about your health, or worrying about other people's health, or in this case, worrying about the virus that's running around, the pandemic. Are we getting close to the end? Are we not? Are we going to have to wear masks for the rest of our lives when we go into big groups? When it comes to the life of a freelancer, or any kind of independent contractor, we add an additional level of stress in that we've got to make sure that our deadlines are hit, that we've got to make sure that our contracts come in on time. If a company is dragging its feet paying you, or if there's some kind of mistake in the system, you could have bills go late, and then you're paying late fees. There's times where you'd be like, all right, I need to, this particular bill I need to put off for a month, and I'll just pay it double next month, and hope that you actually remember to do just that. It is always the case that whenever, when things are tight, that's when your car is going to break down. For me right now, this morning, the reason why today's topic is stress, is this morning I woke up to feed the animals, and opened the pantry door, and the spot on our roof that has been leaking and needing to be replaced. Well, it is officially broken through into the pantry, and there's this giant puddle of water. The canister light that's in the ceiling is working on falling out, which means I gotta try and unwire that thing so it's not a fire hazard. And I'm no electrician, and so now I've got to basically I got to spend more money that I don't have in the time of the month where you're supposed to be paying your mortgage and things. I've got to try and smash out extra contracts to make all these ends meet. Um, it is frustrating, to say the least, when you think you're getting ahead and then something, happens and smashes you. Knowing that if I had the Speed Force and I could smash out, a couple of projects and get a couple of commissions, and I could pay all my bills for a couple of months and probably get the roof fixed. All that set aside, there's only one me. There's only so many hours in the day, and I got to take care of the animals, and I got to, I still got to do all the things that make, I got to clean up after myself in the house. I got to, make food every once in a while. I got to make sure that I do my laundry. There's all these things that regular everyday life you still have to do, because if you don't do the regular everyday life stuff, then things get worse. Or worse yet, you look at that stuff and go, I wish I could get to it, but I can't because I've got to work, because I got to work, I got to do this. And then that stress starts to build back up again. It starts, until eventually something breaks. Whether it's you have a breakdown episode where you're just like, everything comes screeching to a halt, and I'm going to be worthless for a little while, or you have to, and some people, when they get stressed out, they get legitimately sick. My wife, her myasthenia gravis, her nervous condition, if she gets fully stressed out, she'll have more seizures than normal. For me, when I get stressed out, I tend to not digest my food very well. My stomach hurts a lot, and I get my rosacea. I don't know if you can see this. I didn't put on. I'm gonna share a little secret about the Tales from the Professional Nerd channel. Oftentimes, I will use makeup to hide some of the old man and rosacea imperfections in my face. Not because I'm terribly vain, but because I know when I'm watching a video, if someone has a zit or a boil or a mole or a scar or something, even though it might not be that unsightly, it still drags my attention to it, and I don't pay attention enough to what's being said, to the topic at hand. So I use makeup and things to cover those things up, to try and hopefully let my message and my episode and my fun jokes and all this stuff come across clearer without being distracted by all these little red dots and things. And when my rosacea gets really bad, I look like I have almost like a half a red raccoon mask. And so I try and cover that stuff up. The more stressed out I am, the faster my rosacea. I think the term they use is blooms, like my rosacea blooms, but that makes it sound like a flower, and that's weird. I don't have any flowers growing out of my face. But yeah, so stress can be a killer. I'm terribly overweight. I've gained like 120 pounds in the last year and a half, I think. And I'm not even kidding. It has been that bad. I've got a picture of myself with my son in his room from 10 years ago. And I'm in probably the best shape I've been in my adult life. And I would almost call myself back to hockey weight in that picture. And I was still probably 200 pounds, maybe 215. Now I am much larger, and I know that I'm not healthy. I wish I was. I wish I had the time to, once upon a time, that's right, once upon a time, Bryan did P90X twice, back to back. and I was in great shape. I just don't have the time for it right now because my life is so hectic when it comes to getting work done and having to do regular chores around the house and take care of my kids, and life gets you sometimes, and I know a lot of that stress is adds to my stress and makes me go all wackadoo, but it is something that I'm not independently wealthy. I have not won the lottery. I have a job that I love. I have a family that I love. I've got 3 wonderful dogs and 2 wonderful cats that I adore. One of which is in here somewhere. One of the cats snuck into the studio this morning, and I shut the door, and she's still here somewhere. So during the video, she might pop up and say hi. You might get to meet Larfleeze. But it's been, I've been doing this for 20 years, so I'm pretty much used to kind of riding the waves of stress, and sometimes deadlines loom. Sometimes, you get with a company that says, I don't care what the deadlines are. A lot of my painting commissions, I try to keep a queue, but there are always times where someone might come to me and be like, I've got 30 figures that need painted to this degree. And then the next guy that I talk to on the following day is like, I've got this one guy that I need you to do. I might do that one guy while I'm base coating those first 30 because it gets him, that one guy, in the door, out the door, painted and paid while I'm still working on the other commission. It is what it is. It's just like writing. Is that sometimes I'll work for 3 or 4 days at a stretch on a particular project and then be like, I need to change gears and do something else. Just to try and keep things moving along. But all of this stuff, everything, it's been particularly harder during quarantine. But I know this works for me, and I know that others might need to as well. You've got to. So the title of this episode is not just stress; it is stress management. I know that I'm telling you lots of gloom and doom. I'm sitting in a kitchen chair right now because my office chair broke. Just got done replacing a big chunk of the transmission, the entire engine on my car. Roof is leaking. Dogs needed dewormed. I mean, it's been a rough spring. One of the springs in the dining room chairs broke. Speaking of springs, I mean, I'm telling you all this doom and gloom, but for the most part, I can still smile. I can still be jovial and enjoy myself, and I can't let all of this stuff get me down, because if I focused on all of the negative all of the time, I would never get out of bed. And then that's just a self-fulfilling prophecy. If you stress yourself out, you depress yourself, you get yourself sick, so you lay in bed all day and you don't get anything done, and then later on the next day, you are mad at yourself for not getting anything done yesterday, so then you fall into that cycle of depression and so forth and so on. And it's rough. It is what it is. But what you have to do is you've got to figure out ways for you to alleviate your stress. You need to be able to manage your stress. Figure out that sweet spot of just stressed enough to make sure that you are working, that you're pushing yourself forward, that you are making good products, you're doing good services, whatever you do. But not so stressed that you're sick or that you can't do the things you need to do in order to live and survive, hopefully thrive. So what I'm going to talk about today is my own ways that how I manage my stress. And some of them are poor. I will admit that there's a few of my stress management techniques. I'm sure there's probably therapists and things that will step forward and go, that's not good for you. But I hate to say it, it works in my instance. And some of the other ways I would love to be able to do more. to handle things more and flatline things out. Number one, my number one way of dealing with stress, the number one way for me to basically just take a deep breath, set it aside, is playing a game. Whether it's a video game, if I just want to basically be mindless and hit some buttons and kill some bad guys, or talk on a friend on my headset, while we're playing. It's like almost like a friend therapy session with someone from far away while we're playing this kind of video game to stimulate our senses. That's probably my number one way right now. That it changes from time to time. And during the pandemic, my other number one way is to play board games and card games and miniature games. Basically, involve myself with the more consumer side and the happy side of my industry rather than the creative side. And that stuff is what helps me basically. It reminds me why I do the things that I do, why I work as hard as I do. You work hard so you can have more time to play, in my particular mind. And what that does to me is when I am able to take 4 or 5 hours out of the weekend, not worry about work, not worry about doing dishes, not worry about feeding the family, just kicking back, enjoying the fact that I am playing a game, playing someone else's designs. It's not even a work play test or anything like that. It's just having a good time. That is the really one of the big ways that I kind of get out of my own head, forget for a little while all the extra stuff. And just sort of enjoy myself, enjoy life, not think about the fact that not think about the fact that I could be sitting there getting words down. I just want to roll some dice. It's the same thing with why I have the couple of role playing sessions, and why, aside from the family D&D game and the occasional Arcane Promise episode, I'm not really running any RPGs. I like to be a player right now because running a game is stressful. It's like almost like a pro bono work. Now it's super fun, but you're still probably gonna need to devote some time, some effort, some note taking, getting things prepped, whatever, and then the actual stress of running the game itself. That's more time that you're not making. You're not making headway on deadlines or whatever. So you have to be ready for it if you're gonna DM in any way or game master in any way. And so what that does is it means I tend to lean towards, when I'm super stressed out, I will tell my players, hey, I can't run this weekend, or I need to take a month off or something like that. And then I focus on being a player. Because being a player, similar to playing a video game, I get to step out of reality for a little while. I get to step out of the schedule and become whatever creature or character that I'm supposed to be playing, who doesn't have the same stress levels that I do. So those are like the primary things that I do. One of the other things that helps me not so much manage my stress, but it helps me even out when I've had kind of a freak out, like if I've blown up at somebody, or if I'm having a little panic attack that nothing's gonna get done on time, or I will take a couple hours to paint. And painting, even if it's for a commission. I know that's how I double up sometimes, is I'm trying to get away from the stress of deadlines and work by working on a deadline. Go put that together. Or sometimes it's just maybe priming a couple of models for myself, paint a D&D model. Nothing nothing like grand scale or anything like that. Just something to take a couple hours, get my mind off of all the troubles that I'm dealing with, and kind of put it out into the paint, into the brushes, kind of find that sort of artist's zen is really kind of what painting does for me, when I'm doing it right. If you set me down in front of 62 wood elf archers and say these got to have got to be done in 2 weeks, that's not going to be what I choose to do my de-stress painting with. I'm not going to be like, you know what I could do? I could work on those wood elves. No, what I'm going to do is I'm going to work on something else, and then once I get into the kind of painting groove and have calmed my mind somewhat, I might jump over and be like, hey, what about those, you what about the commission stuff that we need? What about this stuff? Um, I know a lot of people. I read comics and graphic novels to help kind of find my chill, and blow and kind of let out some of that corked up stress. I know a lot of other people read very heavily, like novels and things. Speaking of, aha! I knew there was something I was forgetting to mention. So last week, after I filmed, but before the video came out, my first full length Shadowrun novel came out for people to read. I will put the link on how to buy it in the description of the video. But yeah, so how cool is that? In fact, if you give me a second, I can find the cover art, which I think is fantastic. Just so you know that you're getting the right thing when you go to you do your Google or entrance thing. So yeah, check this out. How cool is that? Like it is super rad. The artist knocked it out of the park. I am very excited for getting to see more of more reviews of that. Hear people talk about, hey, I loved your story, or even if they've got nice criticisms and things. It is hopefully in an effort to make the Shadowrun world deeper and cooler and whatnot. So yeah, you should check it out. Either follow the link that I got in the description, or just go to Google and type in Shadowrun Tourist Trapped, and it'll pop right up. Yeah, let's. I just life is difficult from time to time, and as an independent contractor in an industry that generally does not does not break the bank when it comes to cashing in. There's a lot of companies that take good care of us. That is, and I'm with one of them right now. But for the most part, a lot of these companies, a lot of these game creators that are paying people to help develop or write or lore or whatever for their games is, a lot of times they're small companies or smaller companies and just a handful of people. They're not like these giant conglomerates or these massive mega companies marry everywhere. We're not all the time. There are several that exist that are huge. Games Workshop, Fantasy Flight Games, Paizo. They're big companies that do a lot of work and they put out a lot of stuff. They also have a lot of hands on deck. So it they have the overhead and the ability and the raw capital to pay their people really well. When you deal with a lot of little independent companies, or like two guys in their garage, they're like, we've done all the art, we need to have somebody write the story for it. When you tell them your prices, or when I tell them prices, sometimes I've seen them go, oh my god, that's way too high, I can't do that. And then you start the negotiation. You're trying to find out where their sweet spot is, but you also can't sell yourself short. If their sweet spot is 2 cents a word, you're gonna walk, because even the smallest ma and pa company that I've worked for in the past at least paid 3 cents a word. So, and upwards, to much higher. But all that does is that adds to stress too. If you're waiting on checks, if you're trying to get things done and sign things up for hopefully the right amount of money, it is a stressful life, especially when you take into consideration that for our last year and a half, we've had the additional impact of being cooped in, not being able to see each other, wearing a mask when you go outside. Yeah, I mean, I know we're getting closer to the end of it, which is nice, but there have been lots of people that have been irrevocably, that's hard to say, irrevocably changed and injured by this quarantine, some socially, some mentally. Um, but at the end of the day, eventually it's going to go get back to normal. We're eventually going to be able to interact once more. So you've got to be able to kind of keep your head about you. Don't burn bridges just because, you guys can't find a solution, because otherwise it's going to come back to haunt you. That one time that there's a thing that happens in this one place and you're like, oh, Steven is the perfect person to talk to about this, and you go to try and call Steven and he's not taking your calls because he remembered the last time that you guys spoke was super brutal, and so now you got to find another way to try and locate him, or circumvent the situation altogether. Don't locate him and move on. There's just a lot. There's a lot. And right now, for me, I have an extra chunk because, with the exception of Natalie's art, which is doing great. There's a lot of people that have been going to her website and asking for prints and things. Speaking of which, go to her website, look through her stuff, see if there's anything that you see that you're like, man, that's a cool print, or you see something you're like, I would love to find out if she would do this based on that print. She does a lot of work to order. She's actually seeing a lot of commissions right now, but depending on what it is, it could be something that's slipped into the queue real fast. But yeah, go check her out, because right now her art is her primary source of income. And it is just now getting to the point where she has to start really scheduling people out and be like, hey, you're not going to see this until the end of a month from now, that kind of thing. So I do think that if we are talking about ways to make things better in our workplace, and get that stress, the stress down from everybody, move forward on a project rather than dwelling on all the bleh that's happening. I think that it is the right time to focus on work, but don't make yourself so focused and so laser pin, like tunnel vision, that you miss out on all the stuff around you, because the second you regret, or something happens to your friends and they missed you, or something along those lines, you're gonna be kicking yourself. You're gonna be like, God, I can't believe that I didn't do this. It's hard, like life as a creative in any capacity is hard, but life as a industry professional, a game designer, is even harder, because there are thousands of people that would love to take my job if I screw up. And if I get too stressed out, what's going to end up happening is I'm going to, make some mistakes, and the product's not going to be as good, or late, or something along those lines. So, I know that the commercials made the joke of stress is the silent killer. I get it now. 43 years old. I've got, gray hairs tucked in here, you can barely see. I am out of weight, out of shape, and dad to a wonderful 12-year-old, soon to be 13. I would love more ways to alleviate my stress, to make life just a little bit easier for us. Which brings me to my point, my final point. I know this is a fast video, but I've got so much to do. I got to get back to it. It actually brings me to the point of, I want you guys this week. So next week is our 100th episode. 100 episodes. Not including like the little bonuses and things like that. Our 100th regular episode. And I don't have a topic yet. Because I haven't really had a chance to think about it. So not next week, but the week following. I actually have to take next week off from video because I've got a appointment that day. But I'm gonna. So we've got 2 weeks. Two. We have 2 weeks. I would like comments in this video's thread as to what you'd like to see as the 100th episode. Because not because I'm running out of ideas or anything like that, but because I made this channel for you guys, for people to hopefully interact and get the information that they're looking for from the other side of the game screen, so to speak. So please put a couple of ideas down as topics in the comments. Share it on Facebook and be like, hey, what should Bryan talk about? Obviously, if it's under NDA, I can't. I'll have to be super vague. But I just really want, I want episode 100 to be kind of fan driven. So please, please, please think about it. Add a comment to the comment section about what you want to see as the 100th episode. And we will see you back in 2 weeks. In the meantime, please like, share, subscribe, hit the little ringy-dingy bell. Do all these things because it will help. It will help me in the long run be able to make a fantastic 100th episode in 2 weeks. And aside from that, find your own good de-stressors. Don't let it get you down. Don't let the everyday drag just crush your spirit and your hopes. Stay smiling, even if it's behind a mask. Get yourself vaccinated when you can, and be sure to flex those creative muscles and get out there and play some games. We'll see you in 2 weeks for our 100th episode. Please, please, please share it. Let's talk about it. I want this to be a good conversation as to what we do for our big 100. See you then.